Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. If you are new, hi, I'm Kelsey. I'm a wife and a mom of 3 kids, ages 6, 4, and 2, and my husband and I recently, well, maybe not so recently actually, but we found out several months ago that we were expecting baby number 4 in November. This is going to be a 27-week pregnancy update. Today, I am 27 weeks and 5 days pregnant. So I am, depending what source you're going by, either in my 3rd trimester or close to my 3rd trimester. I feel like there's a lot of conflicting opinions about this. I've always kind of thought of 28 weeks as the first week of the 3rd trimester, but apparently some people consider 27 weeks the first week. So let's take a poll in the comments down below. What do you think is the start of the 3rd trimester, 27 or 28 weeks? Either way, in 2 days, I will officially, according to all sources, be in the 3rd trimester, and I'm so excited, but also just still in disbelief that this pregnancy has flown by so quickly. In terms of symptoms, this week I've had the usual, which I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about, but varicose veins in my legs, shortness of breath when I'm walking, Braxton Hicks contractions, food aversions to meat and vegetables, which still is fleeting. Some days I'm fine eating meat and vegetables, other days I can't stand the thought. So I think that's just going to be something that sticks with me throughout the rest of the pregnancy, unfortunately. The only craving that I've really had this week is still pretzels, which is just funny. I just think it's odd. Pretzels are usually like the most bleh food to me. Like, they're fine, I'll eat them, but they're not really anything noteworthy. But for some reason, I just keep wanting pretzels with either cheese or peanut butter. My heartburn is really ramping up. I know I mentioned this in my last video. I'm pretty sure also that the heartburn is just here to stay and will probably keep getting worse as the baby gets bigger and bigger and puts more and more pressure on my stomach. I'm definitely miserable at least half the nights, I would say, in bed, trying to get comfortable and just choking on acid and trying to sit up and drink water and hope for it to get better. I still stupidly have not ordered the papaya enzymes that I keep saying I'm gonna order to try out since I can't take Tums. Hopefully I will actually order them this week. I just keep forgetting until like the middle of the night when I'm trying to sleep, at which point I'm not going to order them then. So hopefully I will get them this week, and I hope that that will give me some relief. One day this week I went to work. I work night shift, so I went to work and actually forgot to take my Protonics before I left because I usually take it in the evening before bed, and I was so miserable all night at work. And then we ordered pizza, which I'm sure didn't help. Trying to get in a consistent schedule of taking it every single night so that I don't run into that and then have to try to play catch up to get it back under control, because it seems like that's even harder. If I stay on top of the Protonics every night, it's usually fairly decent. Also, as a side note, it's like 10,000 degrees here right now and really humid. I think with the heat index, it's actually like over 100 degrees. I don't know how all that works, but that's what I keep hearing. It's really hot, so I am sweating profusely, and I have been all day. So if I look all shiny and sweaty, that's why. It's because I am. But that is another symptom that I want to talk about, is just being hot. It's funny, I've been pregnant 4 times over the summer. With Leland, I was pregnant all summer, and he was born in November, just like this baby. With Rhett and Hattie, I had Rhett in July and Hattie in August, so I was really pregnant in the summer. And everyone would always make comments like, oh, I can't believe you're pregnant in the summer. That's miserable. You have to be so hot. And I've always just said, like, it never really bothered me. I mean, yeah, I was hot, but everyone's hot. It's summer. This time, I don't know what it is, but for some reason, I mean, I'm sure the hot temperatures aren't helping, but these past couple weeks, like, I have just been hot. Like, want to strip down and run around naked hot. So I don't know exactly what's different with this pregnancy, but it's been pretty miserable going outside. I'm just sweating so much. Like, I'm always a sweaty person, but this has been like a whole nother level of sweaty. Baby's still moving a ton. It's funny when they move now, you can just see my whole stomach shifting around from like across the room. My husband's always laughing when he's watching because my whole stomach shifts, which once again, as I say every week, I think is cool and just the most miraculous, special feeling in the world. I wouldn't change it for anything. I can like feel now when baby moves certain ways, like big firm spots that I know are like an elbow or a foot or a head, and I'm horrible at trying to determine what part is where. I gave up trying like 3 pregnancies ago, but I just know that it's something that I can feel like pushing out, and yeah, it's just so cool. The only other symptom that I want to mention, which isn't really a symptom, I guess, but just something that I've been dealing with, is it's getting really hard to bend over. Tying my shoes is getting to be a struggle, which is funny because I don't really remember ever feeling like that in my other pregnancies. And I don't feel like I'm significantly bigger than I was in those, so I don't know what the difference is. I guess probably just that I'm older now than I was. Maybe not quite as nimble as I was then. I don't know, but yeah, it's getting really hard to bend over and tie my shoes. I have to keep like standing up and taking breaths because I just cannot breathe while bent over trying to reach my feet. I had my OB appointment today, so 27 weeks and 5 days. I think technically this is considered like my 28-week appointment. And I got my 1-hour glucose test done. I know there's different schools of thought with the glucose test and that different offices do it different ways. For my doctor, you just go in to the office in the morning, first thing. You're not allowed to eat anything after, I think it's midnight or something. I didn't eat anything after dinner last night. And they check your blood sugar to get a fasting level. Mine was 81, which is good. I think they want it to be less than 100. So I was well within that range. I was very nervous for my glucose test this time. I know I've mentioned it here and there in other videos, but for those that don't know, my son Rhett, who is my second baby, was almost 10 pounds. And on my 1-hour glucose test with him, I was 1 point under what they wanted it to be, like 1 point under the threshold for failing the test. So I never got diagnosed with gestational diabetes, but there is like a huge question mark in terms of whether I might have had it or not with him because he was so big. So I was really holding my breath this time, just like with my last pregnancy, because it just felt like inevitably at some point I would get diagnosed with gestational diabetes. Fortunately, I passed. So the way they do it at my doctor's office again is that they give you the drink after they check your fasting sugar, and you have 3 flavors to choose from. I think it's orange, fruit punch, or lemon lime. I guess I'm just one of the odd people that don't mind the glucose drink. I will admit that it is like really sugary and terrible, like not something I would want to be drinking on a regular basis, but it's never made me feel sick or anything like that. I don't find it intolerable or anything. I don't dread drinking it. In my experience, like the first 2/3 of it are really easy to chug, and then the last third is like a little more of a struggle just because your stomach is full and it's just really sweet and sugary. But I never have any problem getting it down within a minute or two. I've chosen the orange every single time. I wish they would like give you a little taste test so that you could decide what you wanted, which I know is ridiculous. Of course they're not going to do that, but anyone else think that that would be a good idea? I'm just curious what the other ones taste like, but I've always been afraid to try the other ones because I don't mind the orange. To me, it just tastes like extra concentrated Sunkist that's flat and doesn't have carbonation. But it's really, you know, once again, not something I would want to drink on a regular basis, but not nearly as terrible as a lot of people make it out to be. So they had me drink that, and then the doctor came in and saw me listen to baby's heartbeat and asked if I had any questions. It was pretty uneventful. He said everything looks great. Then they sent me out to my car to wait because of COVID for an hour, and I had to come in at exactly the 1 hour mark, and they checked my blood sugar again, and at that point it was 124. and they're looking for it to be under 140 after an hour. So yeah, I passed, and it was a huge relief. I'm just so glad. I was really nervous this time. For some reason, my gut was just telling me that I was going to have gestational diabetes this time around. So clearly my gut is not very accurate. And yeah, it's just one less thing to have to worry about. Although, because Rhett was so big and Hattie was actually decent size, she was 8 pounds, 12 ounces. I'm definitely going to still be watching my carbs, especially in this 3rd trimester as we get closer to delivery and the baby is putting on more weight, to make sure that we don't run into any issues with a really huge baby again. Because I have a negative blood type, I also had to get a Rhogam shot today. For those that don't know what Rhogam is, it's a shot that moms with a negative blood type have to get usually like near the end of your 2nd or beginning of your 3rd trimester. And I won't go into all the details scientifically of what it does, but it basically just protects you in the event that your baby has a positive blood type, and make sure that you don't run into any issues due to incompatible blood types. So I've had it with all 4 of my pregnancies. It's kind of a pain to get, honestly. Once again, I'm sure different places do it different ways, but the way that my doctor's office does it is that they send you to a hospital nearby that has an infusion center that give like chemo and things like that to people. And so you go in there and they draw blood just from your arm like any other blood draw, and then they send you out. You can go like do errands, get something to eat, go home for a while if you wanted to. And they have to send that blood to the lab, and the lab has to process it to make sure that you have a negative blood type and check a bunch of things and get the shot ready. And then they call you when it's ready and you go back. I think today it didn't take that long. It was probably right around an hour that it took for them to do all the processing and everything and give me a call. So I just got some breakfast and talked to a couple people on the phone. And then they called and told me it was ready. I went back in, and then they give you a shot. A lot of people complain that Rhogam is like really painful. Honestly, and I'm not just saying this for anybody that has to get it and is concerned, I spent like probably a month before I got it with my first son, totally panicked that it was going to be like the worst shot I've ever had and it was going to hurt so bad. It is not bad at all. It feels maybe like a bee sting, probably even less than a bee sting. I think actually when she drew my blood before the Rhogam, that actually hurt more than the shot. They give it to you in your like hip/butt, and it just feels like a quick little prick. It doesn't really sting even going in, at least that it didn't in my experience any of the 4 times that I've had it. Just maybe the tiniest little burn. So yeah, definitely if you have to get it and are dreading it, don't spend time fretting about it because it's really no big deal. Honestly, the biggest pain about it is just all the waiting that you have to do between the glucose test and then going to get the Rhogam. I feel like I just spent the entire morning sitting around waiting on stuff. But I'm glad to have it all done. I'm glad that I passed my glucose test. I'm glad that the Rhogam is done for now. And yeah, it's just insane to me that I'm already at this point in my pregnancy to be having this stuff done. That is all that I have to talk about for today. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I'm so happy to have you here. If you're new, please comment down below and introduce yourself. I love to meet all of you. And if you're not new, leave me a comment down below anyways, letting me know how you're doing and if you're pregnant, how your pregnancy is. If you're interested in following along on the rest of my pregnancy journey or my motherhood journey, please subscribe, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye!